Hello, my name is Monty, and I'm here today with,
Hi, my name's Ciara.
and we're going to be talking a bit about Dandara Trials of Fear Edition. This game is a platformer, and it's actually a an expansion on the original game, which was just Dandara. The expansion just made the game bigger and added more puzzles and enemies to defeat. Yeah. Okay, so it takes place in, I'm not sure the name of this world actually. I Although I did some prior research on the game, I really wanted to play it blindly and just see what happened. And the most I can gather is that the world is called the Salt, and in it, salt is kind of a currency for you to level up and for you to heal and everything. But
Hmm?
the whole premise of the game is that, it was a beautiful world, but then quote unquote oppression came. And so you're basically trying to free this world from oppression and, all things like that. And you play as Dandara, who's kind of like this. No, she has no real like character of her own that you learn about or anything like that. She's just a vessel for this game. And she was actually based on, when I was doing research, I found out she was based on the real hero, Dandara, who was an Afro-Brazilian warrior during colonial times. And she ended up,
Whoa.
she freed her settlement from enslavement until she was captured again in February 2nd of 1694, and she ended up killing herself because she didn't want to be a slave again.
Wow.
But yeah, I one thing I it was really fun to learn about the game after I played it a bit, because when I learned about how Dandara is this real figure who, saved her people from enslavement, it reminded me a lot of one of the first things I did in this game, which is that I went to the Village of Art, and I ended up finding an artist and a musician, and they told me about how they had been oppressed and not allowed to play their music or paint their paintings and illustrations, and so I helped them with that in the game. Dandara frees them from that, which is a
Hmm.
really cool parallel there. And
Yeah, it is.
I'm sure it only like continues like that throughout the game. I have played it a bit more on my own. It's a bit frustrating because the game was originally for a touchscreen or controller, and the game does recommend you use a controller if you're playing on the PC. But I did not do that,
Hmm.
and so it's kind of very difficult to maneuver and navigate. But it worked out for me, and I figured things out. But it was a bit harrowing at times when I really just wanted to play the game, but I accidentally like threw my body into an enemy instead of shooting them.
Yeah, I can see how that can be very annoying. How did you find the difficulty of the game and how you could only level up once you got to campsites or something like that?
Um, I didn't mind it too much. It's such like a fun, pretty game, and you just kind of have fun jumping from platform to platform that I didn't really think about, oh, I need a campsite, or oh, I need this. And when I did find a campsite, it was like, oh, yo, I can sit down and stare at my character because she's really pretty with her scarf waving in the wind.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I really
I really
liked the
like the character
mechanic.
design. It's
Yeah,
very
she's
cool.
lovely.
You know who made the game?
Yes, so the game was made by a Brazilian studio called Long Hat House, and they only have one other game, which is called Magenta Arcade, and it's another touchscreen game. But
Hmm.
that one's more of just a shooting game to pass the time, and there's no like protagonist or anything like that. But they have some smaller like prototype games and quick things like that. One of them is called Your It, which is just a multiplayer tag game, and they do have some models you can choose from. Like they're all like they kind of look like little characterized children, and they have like a little white girl and like a little black boy, and they have like a character that's supposed to be representing someone who might be of Asian descent, but that
Hmm.
one is very caricatured, and so
Mm.
that's a little off-putting. But besides that, it seems like in most of their games they like to be a bit diverse and include everyone they can.
It's also cool that it's a diverse company.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew that the game was created by a BIPOC team because that's how I found this game when I was researching how to support some BIPOC artists and creators. But I didn't know that it was in Brazil and that it was based off, or the character was based off a Brazilian hero. So that's very
That's
cool.
really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, they do have another game called Just Politics where they entered it into a challenge where the challenge was to create a game where you play as the villain, and in this you play as a corrupt politician where you are literally sucking the money from people. And the gamers gave this quote: "Corruption is so crazy high in Brazil. Most people here think that it's simply how it works, anyways." Which,
Dang.
yeah, I thought that was really cool that they entered this into a competition, but they still wanted to say something about where they live.
That's really cool of them.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you developed a relationship with Dandara?
Absolutely. If anything, I just kind of felt when you play games like this and there's not much dialogue, or like your character doesn't speak a lot, you kind of take on the character, and when you talk, you are talking as them. And I was actually streaming this game to some of my friends while I played. And, I came across characters like someone named Johnny B, and loved him, and the villain was fun to taunt and such. Even though it's just me, I feel like I'm this badass woman who just kicks ass and can talk shit to this evil overlord. So I love Dandara, and I want to marry her and be her.
It's something someone should strive to be, definitely.
Yeah.
And what you said about how there's not a lot of dialogue in some games, and you kind of take on that role, that reminds me of how in Portal, the main character has brain damage, and then they literally can't talk.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because you're being narrated to, but you can't talk back, which is interesting.
So it definitely, with games where we talked about The Walking Dead yesterday, and we were talking about Lee, but you just get to choose from some options and he speaks. But in games like this, I talk to characters like the one that we're seeing on screen right now, Tarsila, I don't know. But we talk to her, and I'm reading her voice out loud, and I'll respond like, "Okay, Tarsila, nice to meet you," or "See you later, girl." Like, you just take over. And that can be really fun. It can be really special.
Have any final thoughts on the game that could have improved it, or anything that you thought was done really well?
The controls for the PC could use some improvement, but I think once again that's just down to I should probably get a controller, because the way this game works, there's only really 2 buttons you need. But that would probably, the controls were just the one thing that made this game really unenjoyable. Along with that, I love this game so much, but I personally am not an open map person. And so this world is just, you can go anywhere. There's no real, there's the main goal of the game, save the salt. But other than that, you're just kind of going anywhere you want to and doing anything you want, which can be a bit stressful when it's just these corridors and hallways that have you twisting every way around. But for some people that might be their thing more than me.
Yeah.
But
I just think it's a very beautiful game.
Yeah, it's gorgeous to look at, if anything. I knew I wanted to play this game just from the visuals.
It kind of reminds me of Stardew Valley.
Absolutely, yes. I totally see that. And while playing it, it made me think of, I've only seen playthroughs of Undertale, and of course this doesn't have the same exact feeling or premise, because, Undertale is all about empathy and your choices and stuff, but having to save characters and meeting these all unique figures, it made me think of that game a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah, so if you like Stardew Valley or Undertale, those aren't really like this game, but, give this game a try. You might like it.
Aesthetic. Similar.
Yeah, they're not that similar, but, they reminded me of it.
Yeah.